And prosecutors have called their next witness to the stand in former President Donald Trump's New York criminal trial. Deborah Tarasoff is the former longtime accountant at the Trump Organization. This morning, the former president was found in contempt for violating his gag order for a 10th time. Judge Merchan threatened Trump with jail time if his bad behavior continued. I want to bring in again CBS News investigative reporter Graham Cates, who has been outside that Manhattan courthouse. Graham, thanks for coming back to us. So who is Deborah Tarasoff, and what did she have to say during testimony today?
Deborah Tarasoff is a longtime accounts payable supervisor for the Trump Organization. And if you're wondering why prosecutors are calling an accounts payable supervisor to testify in this case, it's because she has familiarity with exactly how the mechanics, the raw mechanics of how a check goes from an invoice to being paid. And she described, and the jury was shown, the invoices that were received for these payments that eventually got made by Trump and his trust to Michael Cohen. And then we saw copies of the checks themselves signed in two cases by Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. when they were signing on behalf of Trump's trust when he just became president. And then in another 9 cases, Trump himself signing checks to Michael Cohen for $35,000 each. And prosecutors say these were the reimbursements for his payment to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election.
Graham, talk to us about the former president's demeanor. There's been so much talk about that today in court. What stood out?
You know, whenever there's a person who is a former employee of his, or in this case, a current employee of his company, he actually always regards them in a similar fashion. He turns towards them. He watches their entire testimony intently. If there's an exhibit on the screen, for instance, some of this exhibit showed spreadsheets related to his own personal checking account. He hunches in closely and looks at his own monitor and looks at the spreadsheets in the same way that you see members of the jury doing it. He's really, really engaged anytime the witness on the stand is someone who is or was an employee of his.
That sounds different from the early days when he seemed to be dozing off. Sounds like he's paying closer attention. Now, Trump has been charged $10,000 for violating his gag order. How's the former president responding to the threat of potential jail time?
Well, you know, we've heard from him throughout this, including after the gag order was initially put in place, and then after he was found in contempt for the first 9 violations. And he's maintained that this is unfair and that they're violating his rights. But there's a different threat to him now, which is that the judge said, if you continue to violate this gag order, I could have you jailed. And he acknowledged that there is all sorts of ramifications to that. The issues that the court officers and the Secret Service will face. Of course, the fact that Trump is currently running for president. He acknowledged all of those things in making his ruling this morning. But he's drawn a real red line here. It's one thing to talk about witnesses in the case. What seems to repeatedly get the judge's ire is when the violation has to do with Trump talking or posting about the jury. And that's what today's violation was about. It was Trump talking about the jury and the jury process. And the judge has made clear he does not want the jurors and their families to feel like they could be threatened.
Yeah, that is concerning. Graham Cates, thank you so much.
Thank you.